Callum McGregor might be coming in now. I think Callum McGregor is coming in now.
Hello guys.
Nice
We should
to
speak
see
more often, I think.
actual people in the room, which is nice, not a computer screen.
So Zoom all good? You're still saying that in 10 minutes. Alright guys. Doing well?
Callum, how big is this game in your eyes for the players? How pivotal does it feel?
Yeah, we know it's a big game, you know, especially after the result the other night as well. You know, we get a positive result, they get a negative result. And, you know, we're getting to the point where you're starting to run out of games. So, you know, the next 2 or 3 are massive for us, and, you know, we want to start on the right foot tomorrow night.
I know you don't like to look too far ahead as players, but you get a sense these next 2 fixtures, if you were to get 4 points from the 2 games, then you give yourself a fighting chance of moving forward.
Yeah, I think so. You know, like you said, you don't want to look too far ahead, but, you know, that's the nature of qualification. You have to try and earmark, you know, where you're going to get your points and what you need. So, you know, like you said, you probably summed it up perfectly there. If we can come away with 4 points in the next 2 games, then I think we're doing well.
Is the priority tomorrow not to lose, first and foremost?
Yeah, it's a must-not-lose game rather than, you know, must-win. A win would be great. You know, everyone's feeling good. You know, a win the other night as well keeps the momentum going, and, you know, like you say, we want to win the game. It puts us in the best possible position, but like you said, if you want to label it, then it's probably must-not-lose.
Have you looked at much of their game the other night?
We've had a little look at it. We'll probably do more tonight and tomorrow, obviously, when we're sort of ramping up the preparation. So we've seen the goals, we've seen bits of the game. We know they're a threat from obviously the previous game that we played them as well. So we know we need to produce a top performance to get something.
Were you surprised at the amount of the goals they lost, given how they played in the Euros?
Yeah, you know, obviously they're a very well organised team. They don't usually ship that many goals, and, you know, we've probably been on the other side of that where we've been in Israel. We know how difficult a fixture that can be, taking everything into consideration. So, you know, results like that can happen in football, and we have to try and take advantage of that as much as we can.
There's no shortage of chances on Saturday night. Is it all just about being clinical now?
Yeah, that's it. And at this level in football, you have to take chances, and, you know, we could have had 3, 4, you know, possibly 5 the other night, which is great in terms of creating chances, and, you know, the next step for us is to put them away and obviously get wins. So, you know, we're always building all the time, trying to get better, and, you know, like you said, that's probably the next step, is to try and, you know, put those chances away.
Callum, what do you have to do as players to, you know, kind of become more clinical? What have you got to do on the training pitch to give yourself more confidence in front of goal?
You know, you can obviously you can do shooting practice, but, you know, it's totally different when you come into the game. There's different pressures. You know, you don't always get an easy ball to finish when you set it up in training. Everything's, you know, is manufactured to get shots off and, you know, produce chances at goals. So sometimes when they come in the game, you know, they're always different. You get a set play, you know, you get a free header, whatever it is. Then, you know, it's just a bit in the moment, trying to take the chance and trying to have that mindset where when the chance comes, you're calm and you can execute the technique, because you can do it every day if you want in training. But, you know, when the chance comes in the game, you have to try and be cool and execute the technique to get the goal.
Are the players confident that you can start converting more chances because you're creating so many at the moment?
Yeah, of course. You know, you always go into the game in a positive frame of mind. You know, we've got guys that can score goals in the team. So it's just a case of trying to get one in it before. I think when you get into a kind of positive frame of mind, then, you know, that's normally what happens. The goals go in and you hit a little purple patch. So for us, it's, as a team, we just try to be as confident as we can when the chances come.
Got the news this morning that you guys had to pull out the squad for this game. Does that feel like a blow for you guys?
Yeah, it's always a blow when you get to sort of the last game and, you know, if your boys are carrying a few injuries, then, you know, they need to go away and kind of upset the balance of the squad a little bit. But, you know, we know we've got good players in the squad, everyone's tight, we're a good group, and, you know, we'll be trying to get the result for these guys as well that, you know, unfortunately can't be there.
Does that just show how tough the schedule is? I think the manager had said after the game on Saturday that he wasn't too happy with the way the games had been scheduled.
Yeah, of course, you know, it's obviously difficult times at the minute where you're trying to catch up, and there's been so many international fixtures and domestic fixtures. It's, you know, it takes its toll on the players, and unfortunately you're going to get injuries and, you know, and niggles and things like that. So, you know, as much as I can for the players, it's just trying to rest and, you know, get your rest in as much as possible, you know, in the downtime that you've got.
Is the confidence there that, you know, the matter who goes in and who comes out to replace. Everyone knows their job in the system, everyone knows exactly what they're doing, and it should hopefully be a sort of seamless transition.
Yeah, hopefully that's the idea with the, obviously the system we've got. We've played it for a long time now, and everyone's drilled. They know what they're doing. So, like you said, we're actually quite lucky, that we've got a big pool of players to pick from. The quality is very, very good. I think you've seen that over the last sort of 2 years, 18 months, that whoever's coming in is making an impact in the games and making the team better. So that's the stage we want to get to, where it's one in, one out, and it's seamless.
Within the squad, what's your assessment of how well you think you're playing, and how much room maybe for improvement there is from the players' point of view?
I think we can always improve. I think as footballers, that's the goal every day in training. You try and get better personally, and then as a collective, you're always trying to push to get better as a team as well. So off the back of the Euros and the major tournament, it's great exposure for the players. Playing at the real top level, so you get a taste for that, and you want to go again. So you take what you've learned for the summer, and you always try and implement it every single day. And when you get to the point in the game, you try and take what you've learned and put it into practice as well. So, like I said, for footballers, every day is a day to try and get better, and that's certainly what this group have got in terms of mindset as well.
And with this triple header, are you roughly where you thought you'd be going into the last game? Maybe there wasn't a great expectation of a win in Denmark, but there would have been an expectation to beat Moldova, and now this one.
Yeah, I think so. I think when we met up at the start of the week, like you said, you start to earmark the games and where you can try and get points. So we're pretty much as we are. We know it's a massive game tomorrow night, and our full focus is on that now.
And do you think Israel now are the main dangers for second? Have they maybe surprised a few of us, or maybe they haven't surprised us? Maybe we knew that they were always going to be.
Yeah, I think we knew. We've had so many games against them. The players certainly knew what Israel are capable of, and they've thrown themselves in the mix as well. So there's 4 good teams probably really pushing now to get to 2 places. So it's up to us to be one of the 2. That has to be our mindset as players.
What are you expecting from Austria? I mean, obviously they had the good Euros as you suggested, but then they seem to be getting branded a team in crisis after the weekend.
I think that's it. In football, you're only ever one game away from being in crisis, and you need to fix it, and you need to tear up the rule book and start again. But we know that's not the case. Like I said, you go away to Israel. We know how difficult a game that is. So no doubt for them, they'll be desperate to bounce back and show everybody that they're not in crisis, and they've got a good team. So we know how strong they are. We know how strong they are for the game at Hampden as well. And like I say, we'll do some bits on the video in the next day or so and make sure we're fully prepared for that.
Let's go.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks.
No worries. That's service. It's like that.
It's not bad. I was going to say he's redeemed himself, but not quite.
Ross, you need to speak to the Austrian media first.
No, I think there's always you can just start when you're ready.
Steve, you've had to lose 3 players. Just clarify the reasons behind that, if you could, please.
We didn't have to lose them, but circumstances tell me that 3 players are not going to make it. Nathan and Kenny injuries from the game. Such a short turnaround. Difficult to get them back in time for this one, so they don't travel. And unfortunately, Ryan Fraser picked up a knock in training, which again with a short turnaround just means that there's no point in taking him because he wouldn't be ready for the game. So losing 3. But I did say after the game the other night, and I wasn't making it up, I had 7 or 8 doubts. So losing 3 means that I've got 4 or 5 that have made it.
You've called it 1 addition. Were you tempted to bring in more, or is that difficult to do at the 11th hour for the final game, given everything?
It's almost impossible to do with the turnaround and the schedule for testing. It's difficult. Paul's not the first one that we've tried to call up over the course of the camp. We've tried other players, but Paul's the first one we've managed to get in, so we're grateful for that. We're grateful for Paul for making himself available for testing very late last night to jump through the hoops and make sure that he's part of the squad. So it's good to have him on board as a good backup to the team.
The ones you tried to get and not got, Has that been down to a lack of cooperation from the clubs?
No, just circumstances. Just circumstances. And it's not. Listen, it's not a big story. It's very difficult to get them turned around quickly with the COVID stipulations, and obviously there's other bits and pieces going on in the world, injuries, illnesses. So, like I say, we managed to get Paul in, so that's good.
Football managers don't like to look too far ahead or get too focused on individual games, but in your eyes, how pivotal is this match against Austria now?
I thought Moldova was quite a pivotal game. We had to get 3 points there. We did that. This is another game that's important in the group. I think the dynamic of the group, and I did say that I felt it was a group where teams would take points off each other. I think the dynamic of the group has actually changed a little bit with the Israel-Austria scoreline midweek. So this is an important game. Every game's important. I think when you represent your country, especially in qualifiers, every game's important because every point can be important towards the end. I don't know what the points total will be now. You look at it and you've got so many combinations and so many thoughts in your head and so many results that can go one way or the other that it's better just to concentrate on the game, look for a good performance and get the result that we can get.
Callum McGregor said to us he thinks it's a must-not-lose game tomorrow. Would you go along with that assessment?
Well, Callum's quite a bright and intelligent boy. He normally says the right things at the right time. He's used to doing press conferences, so I wouldn't disagree with Callum.
4 points from these next two games, though. Would that be a satisfactory return in your eyes?
I think 6 would be better. If we get 4, we get 4. But it's all speculation. We have to go out and do it. You can talk about the games, you can talk about what we're going to do. We want to go out, we want to play well. And if we play well, we feel we're capable of getting a good result in Vienna.
Steve, what do you expect from Austria, and are you surprised by their result of the weekend?
Well, I don't know if you've watched the game, but it was a very strange game. If you looked at the game objectively in the first half, it could have been 4-3, 5-3 Austria half time. They had some big chances in the first half, didn't take them. Israel were clinical, really clinical. So it's a result that maybe was a little bit unexpected to some, but the last time I think Austria played in Israel was a Nations League game a couple of years ago, and Israel beat them 4-2. So there is some previous there. The Austrians now will be looking at this game thinking that they've got to win. So it's an important game in the group, but they're all important. The next one will be important as well, and the one after that will be important depending on how results run. We're all scrapping for the points.
Reports from the Austrian media that their manager Frankfurt is under pressure. Do you expect them to be weaker, to play like a team under pressure, or do you think they'll be trying to bounce back as a game that they must win as well?
I think they're a very good team. They showed that in the Euros. I think they came out their group, took the Italians all the way, which was a difficult thing to do. Team that won it. So they're good. They're a good team, good players. Listen, they've had one or two fitness issues or squad issues as well. Players not in the squad that they probably wanted to be in the squad, the same as we have. It's just one of those things you have to deal with. We'll go there, it'll be a tough game. It'll be a tough game for us and it'll be a tough game for them.
Any kind of positive result though would set up a right cracker against Israel at Hampden, wouldn't it? Is that the main aim for everyone?
You're jumping to October already. I'm just focusing on this one. We want to play well. I've got a really good squad of players. We're all determined to do as well as we can, but maybe the time for talking's gone. It's time to get the results. So good performance, good result. That's my only focus.
I know you've spoken a lot about this schedule and the tight turnaround. How difficult has that been in practice just to work with the players on the training ground?
Probably over the course of the days, we did a walkthrough before the Denmark game. Obviously a lot of disruption before that one was difficult. We did a 10-minute walkthrough before we played Moldova. This morning we did 5 minutes. Because you don't have the time. You just don't have the time to work on the training pitch. Your players have to recover. You ask any professional player and they'll tell you that 48 hours after a game is the day they feel most tired. So today they feel most tired. Tomorrow, after another 24, 28 hours before we get to kick-off, they'll be fine. But we have to recover them properly. So it's very difficult to get any time on the training pitch, never mind quality time.
Is that then helpful that you've had pretty much the same squad for quite a long time and the players all know their roles?
It's one of the reasons why we try to get continuity within the group.
Steve, in your opinion, is the team playing better than maybe recent results might suggest in terms of chances created in the football that you're seeing?
I just do my job. I let other people speculate and talk about what they think we're doing and what they think we're not doing. I'm happy with my players, and I think my players are quite happy with me. And we'll just keep working together and try and do as well as we can for the country. That's what we do every time we get together.
And are you roughly where you thought you'd be for this triple header, and maybe in terms of the group, in terms of still being in it with maybe the two biggest games to come?
I knew we'd be in the group. We're a good team. I think we're a good team. I think we've shown that on occasions. We'd like to be more consistent. We'd like to pick up more points. But I think as a team, I think we're pretty decent.
And is it just the nature of being a manager, almost the exasperation of being a manager, that you can put a team out and they can create lots of chances, but the manager can't put the ball in the net?
You saw me playing, eh? 10 goals in 421 games wasn't a great return. Nah, listen, it's what it is. Sometimes you'll score goals with the chances. If the games are tight, players can tighten up. I think it's more mental than actually technical. You watch them out there on the training pitch, no crowd, no pressure. The game's not 0-0, the game's not 1-0. Tighten up a little bit in the game. They need to just relax in front of the goal and get the finish. That's what the coaches told me, but I never paid any attention to that. I just kept smashing it as hard as I could and never scored.
Steve, just this year with Grant Hanley, I mean, he seems to have grown into a real top quality centre back as he's got older, hasn't he?
I think Grant's always been a good centre back. Obviously, when you're a young defender, you can be a little bit more rash. He's grown into his game. He's a more mature player. I've always liked Grant as a player. Even as a youngster, you could see the qualities he had. You knew he would develop as he got more experience and become better and better. In recent games for Scotland, I think probably our most consistent player. Not a lot of people mentioned it, but losing Grant in the game against Croatia was a big factor in the game. We lost that big rock at the back. Steadying influence. Great lad, great trainer. Doesn't cause me one bit of trouble. Comes in, everybody respects him in the group. Just because of the way he conducts himself. So he's been a big plus for us.
Everyone else looking okay in terms of fitness now?
Yeah, good. Like I say, still a little bit of fatigue in some of the legs, but that'll be gone by kick-off time and we'll be good to go.
Safe travels.
Thank you. Thanks very much.